Good evening, everyone. Live from Silicon Valley, California. This is Bhakti Community. My name is JM, and I welcome you all to a program today, Bhakti On, where we'll discuss today's topic stuck on repeat. With our speaker today, Shivas Pandit. As several of you know, Shivas Pandit, he has been practicing Bhakti Yoga for almost 3 decades. And he's a spiritual teacher. He teaches several systematic Vedic classes for Bay Area as well as all over North America online. And he also counsels several couples and youth and giving them spiritual guidance. So really happy and glad, Shivas Pandit, to have you back on Bhakti On. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Jayam. It's my great pleasure and honor to be amongst all of you. And it's such a pleasant surprise to see Shri Radha after a long time, and Neha and Premanishta and Tathagat. Thank you so much for joining. Such a pleasure. Oh, Akshay, thanks for joining.
Yeah, people
All
still
right.
coming in, but we can get started.
Yes, yes. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers, and then we can continue. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णप्रदानं सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभयश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यः वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नाम। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी। Cheryl, Tathagat, Asant, Tina, Phil, thank you for joining. It's an exciting topic that we have in store for you today. So today's topic is something called stuck in a loop. And probably that is really familiar. As we go ahead in life, the loop kind of becomes apparent. It's going to be the same routine, and we have the same schedules and so on and so forth. While I continue, I'll welcome Lisha as well. Thank you, Lisha, for joining. All right, welcome. You might be wondering that it could be it is just my own thought process, or it is my own thinking that I'm like that. But actually, that's not true. In 1971, the scientists they came up with a concept, and that is called hedonic treadmill. If you before you think I'm making it up, I can just post it, the link, because by no stretch of imagination, I am actually a psychologist or something like that. So, yeah, before you think that I'm making this up to sell Bhagavad Gita or some weird cult that we are we are doing, the scientists actually came up with this term. And if you can see the 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 link that I sent, especially if you see the graph that shows basically the hedonic treadmill, the theory propounds that everybody has certain baseline of satisfaction in life. If you see just the graph, you will see that everybody has certain baseline of had satisfaction or dissatisfaction in life. That has come about because of my own nature. It has come about because of some um, my past thinking, whatever. So that is something the every person has that kind of baseline. Now, when a person aspires for example, I want to get a new car, and I'll be happy with the new car. Then what happens is that this theory says that my happiness will go ahead when I get a new car, a new promotion, more money. After some time, when I take that particular object or position or even a relationship as a fact or as granted, then my happiness level comes down. So it settles down to a kind of a medium happiness. Am I making sense? The whole theory is that, and you can feel it in your life as well. There is a certain amount of excitement when something happens, but then when it is over, then or when you acquire that, then the baseline comes down. For example, I go ahead and buy an exciting new car that I have always dreamt of for many years. The joy, I remember that. My father, when I was young in my teenage, they got he got me a two-wheeler. It was in India it's called scooter. It's not even a motorcycle. It's like a Vespa that's come from Italy, where it is like it has two handles, and it's very different. You can look up Vespa. So we got that. It was so much exciting at that point of time. We practically spent days on it. I mean, my father was really worried that I would just ride on it every time I get an opportunity. Maybe this fellow is like, maybe I did a mistake getting this. But after some time, when the exams came about, the reality hit back, and then you fell into the groove of being a student, and then you pretty much forgot. It just became an instrument to actually go to my tuition classes or to college, or to occasionally visit a friend's house, where it remained. Then the actual work started when we had to go for maintenance. I was like, uh-oh, all right, I got to work. I was just like, I need to kind of study, so I don't have time. The same excitement will go with a pet or a dog, right? The kids are all excited about it, and the spike in happiness jumps up in few days. When it comes time to take the dog out for a walk, or take care of it, the children are like, I have to study. So I have heard many, I don't have pet or dog for that matter, but I heard many parents say that, yes, the children are all excited to get the dog, but you will end up taking care of the dog or a cat as your third child or second child. Familiar? So the scientists came up in 1971 with a theory. Professor Easy, thank you for joining. Nitya Tarangini, Yasmin, thanks. So the psychologists in 1971, they came up with this term called hedonic treadmill, where you make where you make efforts to be happy, but only to realize that events that spike in life cause some brief moment of happiness. Then again, they kind of fall back to that normal thing, and you take it for granted, and that kind of becomes like the benchmark, and you need that further happiness where that excitement, the joy of discovering something new, the vivacious spark that comes about doing kind of things. So far so good. Am I making sense? And I'll tell you, it's not all doom and gloom, but even the scientists said for the hedonic treadmill, they said even negative experiences also over a period of time they heal. For example, if the happiness, the distress intensely goes up when there is, for example, unemployment, or a divorce or a death of a loved one, um, or maybe there is a wildfire. You can have so many things. After some time, when this event happens, then the time will heal and you go back to your base state of wherever you are at. Krishna also says the same thing in Bhagavad Gita, where he mentions that in the chapter 5, verse number 22, Jim, if you can just project and somebody can read. This hedonic treadmill is something described by Krishna in Gita. He gives a little more graphic, but the idea there is it's pretty much the same. The reason why it is called is that because there is a starting point of where you enjoy something, and then there is an end to it. Whether you go to a restaurant, whether you engage or have in a new relationship or a new job or a promotion, or probably vacation. A vacation is a little dicey. At least things you buy might be for sure give you happiness, but vacation, it's up and down. But more or less, it's good vacation as well. So,
repeat the verse number.
522, Bhagavad Gita 522. Sorry. And please feel free to chime in with thoughts, questions, unmute yourself.
You want to hear, Prabhu, the 522 or?
522. Correct. So here, please, somebody can do the translation.
If somebody can read the translation.
Can I read?
Yes, please.
An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them.
So you can see how it was exactly the same point that was described by the hedonic theory, that when you come in contact with a particular situation, there is an immediate spike in the happiness, and later it kind of settles down. And you might be thinking that, there will be, like, if I buy an expensive house, for example, that will give me a lot of happiness, and it does give for some time before the weight of the payments and so on and so forth. And also, generally, the house, you don't get so much of excitement every single day. You're just like, yeah, it's good, it's good, it's something else. Because my senses are in contact with the sense objects. And then why senses? What is the sense objects? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that our true self, which is the eternal soul, is covered by this gross body, which has senses, which has mind, which has intelligence. And using the material senses and grasping material objects, right? For example, for one species of life, something is very tasty. For other species of life, that is not so much tasty. For example, if you go to a zoo and you throw meat to a tiger or a lion, probably it's really tasty and delicious and they enjoy it. And probably raw meat might not be the delightful thing for a human being who's accustomed to consuming meat, for example. So the same thing seems to be having different connotations for different species of life. And in the same vein, Krishna is saying, because we are in this world, everybody has a certain kind of attraction based on the modalities they are in. And based on that, they try to grasp material objects and they try to consume it, and it spikes up and then it goes down. So far, so good. Am I making sense? But then the question comes is this: well, why not? I mean, what's wrong with me trying to grasp material objects and live happily in this life? Maybe you're right. The happiness is momentary, but then I keep on trying to enjoy different things to make me happy, and that way I'll be happy. For example, today I get a one particular type of car, and then I'll sell it tomorrow. I get another. I keep on having that excitement. But the problem with that is that one is not satisfied. If there is a perpetual hope that we'll be satisfied by enjoying material things or experiences of this world. But as we can see that each of those engagements will leave us a little bit more dissatisfied. And not to mention the hard work you have to put in, correct? I mean, if you want to have a car every 4 years or 3 years, you need to pay a lot of money for that and you have to work really hard. And that has become the standard of happiness. But Bhagavad Gita says that we are spirit soul or we are Atma, and our happiness that we are deriving from matter is not a natural thing to us. It is not a natural state of satisfaction and delight. There is something beyond the matter that Bhagavad Gita, especially Lord Krishna, urges us to explore in this human form of life. That we can rise far above the matter and find ultimate happiness. And that is the kind of goal of Bhagavad Gita. So far, so good. Questions, comments, concerns? Anything that you want to add? Before I start off, Nagin, Nitya, Jagriti, thank you so much all for joining. It's such a pleasure to see you all. Right.
Kautuk has his hands raised.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the nice and engaging discussion. I like the point about hedonistic treadmill, especially the example of buying a pet. I was thinking about getting a new car, as you mentioned. In the beginning, I was really excited, but as I had to pay for yearly registrations and then insurance and then cleaning the car, making sure the maintenance is going on, it becomes a challenge. And of course, the joy is there in terms of the convenience, but it is on decline. And later on, it may even become distasteful at some point because of the work involved. So I really like that example. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that deep insight. There are, and I will discuss towards the end also on how to overcome this particular, which is the whole theme of this topic, is how to overcome this sort of repeated cycle, really hedonic treadmill. The word, when JM used the word treadmill, this thing came to my mind, where it is truly a treadmill in terms of that. And then the other thing of this world is, I said that we are spirit souls or we are Atma, which means that I have a gross body, which everybody has, we can feel it. And then beyond that is the senses, the 5 senses we have. Those senses actually look at something. For example, I see an iPhone. This is the iPhone. I see the iPhone. And my mind kind of wants the iPhone because above the senses, the eyes transmit the information to my mind, and the mind is the reservoir of previous impressions. maybe, oh my God, iPhone is great. And you might have, there is a certain brand name and certain identity, certain status associated with iPhone. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. All right, let me kind of get an iPhone. And then the intelligence starts saying, okay, which iPhone is better, and so on and so forth. And Krishna says that beyond that intelligence, there is the spirit soul or Atma that is completely imperishable and has been me since time immemorial. But because I am in this world, as Vaish likes to mention, I have been slapped with the name Shniki, and then I'm forced to work really hard in this world. But then, when at the time of when you need to quit the body, then the whole identity is kind of completely destroyed, including the body itself. And then the Atma or the spirit soul goes to the next body, and then we sojourn through this world like that. The hedonic treadmill actually kind of affirms the fact that I have tasted this before, or I have seen this world before. This is the world that I have been repeatedly been here. And at the time of birth, Krishna wipes the slate clean so that you feel this world is fresh and exciting. But if you stay in this world long enough, you will feel a certain unwell. That is like certain boredom with this world, because it's already things I have experienced, maybe not in this life, but in the previous lives. So that experience is not fresh or familiar, and it quickly settles down. And that is a part of the hedonic treadmill. And one of our great devotees in Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj, he says that he gives an interesting phrase to it. He says it's chewing the chewed. Just please raise the hand if never in your life, if you have eaten chewing gum, or in India we used to call them bubble gum because we used to blow bubbles. Anybody who did not? Okay, I am in the right room. Thank you very much. You can get the feeling that you first put the bar of the chewing gum into your mouth, the mouth explodes with freshness and tastes and everything, and pretty much quickly it is gone. And then you are either, for example, driving on a long drive while chewing, or maybe you're watching a movie and you are not noticing the fact that you are chewing the gum. And after some time, you are mindlessly chewing and your jaw starts hurting. Oh my God, I've been chewing this gum for the last 3 hours. No taste, but my jaw hurts. So that concept of Prahlad is being given as chewing the chewed, which means I taste the same thing again and again. Before you curse me saying that I'm being too negative, having this sort of foundation of expectation from this world then resets our orientation. What of this world? What is my prime motivation or the prime source of happiness in this world that I can target or aim towards so that I can be unendingly happy? One thing is you can become very negative and say that I'm not meant for happiness. I can never expect happiness. I can never seek happiness. Maybe I should be miserable all the time, or maybe that's what who I am. But Krishna is saying no. The fundamental nature of soul or Atma is to be everlastingly joyful and everlastingly happy and be content. And that is the nature of Atma or spirit soul. And unless we discover that, then our happiness is being forced, or we are being forced to seek happiness from this world. Makes sense? Any questions? Any comments or questions? Anything you want to add or type in the chat? Good. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was just thinking that I think in this current age or in present day today, we confuse happiness with fun. And I mean, people think that fun is happiness, but it's temporary. It's very like short-lived, and happiness is something very different, which increases continuously, and it's not temporary. And that comes from like that satisfaction or like, you know, deep inner inside. Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you. So I think then should we just kind of not indulge in happiness at all? That is not the Vedic scriptures. The Vedic scriptures are not saying that you completely deprive yourself of any sensory happiness whatsoever. But the Vedic scriptures are saying don't expect complete happiness from this world, because you will bound to fail. I'll give a simple example, and no, I'll use Ishwari Radha, she's one of the nicest ladies I met, but I'll use this her as an example. For example, you know, she has a pizza party in her home, and Mother, don't curse me. I'm just using it as an example. And she has a pizza party at home. So when the guests come, she puts a wall hook on the roof, and she hangs a pizza slice from there, and that pizza slice is reflected in the mirror. And she says to the guest, now eat that reflection from the mirror, you will be happy. This seems really absurd, but pretty much that is the nature of this world, because this world is a reflection of the genuine spiritual world. And when we are seeking happiness, we are actually seeking happiness from reflections of shadows. And that cannot give satisfaction as much as trying to eat or lick pizza off a mirror will never give you happiness, because the pizza is elsewhere. So Atma, it finds happiness only in the spiritual aspect of life, not the material aspect of life. So but the problem, not the problem, but the dilemma is that we are a combination of body and matter, which means we need to take care of our body as well. We cannot completely neglect it. But to expect that if I just take care of my body and make my mind happy, then I'll be happy is a problem. Then, because the hedonic treadmill says no matter how much you try to elevate your position, you will fall back to a state of the baseline, and then you will not feel satisfied. And I'm not, as I said, the scientists came up with this particular hedonic treadmill in 1971. Since 57 years or 54 years, whatever be it, its story is not changed. We seek happiness from within, and that is the call of Gita. Jen, we can just go for chat. Tathagat said something.
There are a couple of items on chat we have received. One is Nitya restating or reflecting our nature is everlastingly joyful. And Tathagat saying one of my favorite lessons from Srimad Bhagavatam is 7.742. In this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, his conditions of distress begin. The question is, how can we apply it practically?
Thank you. Thank you. One of the ways that we do it is through practice of yoga. And while I'm sending you a link, Jane, if you can open it. What happens, we'll discuss the practice of yoga, and then we can discuss what is the joyful state, because earlier Nitya said our nature is everlastingly joyful. So at least, you know, what is that joy that we are seeking that Krishna describes in Gita in these particular verses. So if somebody wants to read the translation, please.
Who would like to read the translation? Go ahead, Lijay.
In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi. One's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the middle of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact.
Very good. So, to Tathagat's question, the practice of yoga, especially Bhakti yoga, is to help rediscover our natural joyous state, being a spiritual being at the same time, getting connected with a higher power that is God or universe, whatever you want to call it. But that the process of yoga is meant for that. I'll give an example. Jagriti, I put you up, so don't curse me out this. So Jagriti goes to the fair. There is this fair where we have during Halloween. There's like this maze, right? We enter into the maze and then we have to successfully sort out to come out of that maze. There are some blind ends. There is some maybe one of those skeletal things they put in the maze to scare you, and you have to enter into that maze, and then you have to come out in the end. And then there is also at some slots, if you do well, then you get some prize. For example, maybe there is a candy, a chocolate, a fruit, or maybe there is a gift or something like that. And then she enters into that maze, but for some reason or other, she gets lost in that maze. And she's panicking in terms of it. At that point of time, if somebody says, "Hey, Jagriti, you go this route. There is a candy here. There is you go this route. There is another gift here." She will say, "I don't need all those things. I'll be happy only when I get out of this maze, because this maze is very uncomfortable and I'm feeling trapped here." Yes or yes? I mean, you can't be happy with like a chocolate or a gift. I need to get out of it. So we are in the maze of material world, which means that these temporary things that we get to make ourselves happy, it's not enough. And Bhagavatam compares to the soul that is coming in this world as a traveler who will find happiness only in their own home. No matter which 5-star hotel you lived and enjoyed the finest cuisine and so on and so forth, but it is still a alien place. Yes or yes? I mean, like, you won't be having the same comfort level as you come back home. In the same vein, so if Jagriti is told, "Hey, this is this particular, I'm giving you this device, and then if you click on this, the people who organize this maze will know exactly where you are, and they'll come and rescue you, and then you can go back home," she will take that in a blink of an eye compared to the chocolate and the candy and so on and so forth. In the same way, Krishna says that, you are in the maze of this world. You actually, take some time to cultivate spirituality, then you will be happy, you will be joyous, and you can come back to a spiritual being where there is neither anxieties, where there is no old age and nothing, because the soul by nature is eternal and everlasting and has no birth or no death. And the process of yoga is to discover our true nature. Is that helpful? Tathagat, does that answer your question, or should we continue on that before we go to mailing? All right. Tathagat is giving me a hard sign.
I have a question. So can I say that?
Please.
Yes, I understand that very well, you explain, but the only part I have a problem, maybe for me, it's easier to say the peaceful than a joy. Because this day they promote the happiness and not the joy, you said happiness a lot. And it's very confusing. It's become looks like the candy. And through the happiness, there is lots of comparison. We all having it because there is a happiness everywhere and they promote it in the commercial everywhere. Everything's about the happiness. But I believe as much as we compare, we cannot be happy. That's what the peace, I think, is the point. The more be peaceful, that's not the part we can compare it with anything. That's why I thought maybe that would be helpful if we don't say happiness, happiness, because if you see around, everything these days is about to be happy. And it's not the goal of the human being to only be happy. I think it's more joyful or peaceful.
A nice point, because the happiness that is being promoted these days is more of the happiness for the advertiser who will get money when they buy your product, whether that product is needed or not. The happiness, they are sure to get happiness, but I'm not sure we will get happiness. For example, Coke says that open the bottle of happiness when they say, like, but the problem is the amount of harmful effects that have incurred for those who consume in excess, for example. They have been well documented. So you're right, but making the thing is, I want to find happiness, and if I don't cultivate spirituality, then my only outlet or avenue of happiness is what the world is saying, be happy. But when we contemplate, when we reflect on our inner selves, when we read the scriptures, then we get a higher destination of what happiness means. And that's the exact purpose of Bhakti community and other programs. And for example, Kautuk and others tirelessly go on book distribution. The idea is to spread this knowledge so that people will know there is another avenue of happiness beyond just the crass commercialism that's being promoted in the name of happiness. Is that helpful?
Yes, sure. Thank you.
All right. Kautuk had a comment.
Yeah, there are a couple of more. One is Cheryl says, remember to identify with the soul, not the mind, body, material world. We are here to serve Krishna, not the mind. And Kautuk says, one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
Yeah. Good points. Thank you, Kautuk. Thank you. Any other points? So the treadmill part, just to add, comes in that if the spiritual knowledge is missing, then the hedonic treadmill mentions that I get certain happiness or a high when I do things or when I acquire things. And because it quickly fizzles out, you get back to the normal, and then you need something higher to keep that spark going. And so it becomes like a catch-22 situation, and hence the term hedonic treadmill has come about. So how do we break, or how do we overcome this sort of hedonic treadmill that keeps us dissatisfied and frustrated?
Chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Hare Krishna, Cheryl. Please, any question, any comments, we'll be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, following four regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna, like over time, you identify more with your true nature. You remember you still go out into the material world, you still have those interactions, but you've got that to return to. the remembrance of who we are and what we're here for. So that practice is so important.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Because we forget easy.
That is true. But as long as we have, we keep ourselves in the orbit of like-minded spiritual seekers, then, you know, the forgetfulness will be less. And it's a nice point you brought up. In the US, I was actually waiting at the traffic. I was driving my vehicle and I was waiting at the traffic to make a left sign, go left. And the light showed as red, which means I stopped. I was the first person waiting for the light to turn green and make a left. I was waiting, but I got distracted momentarily. I'm not sure. I'm pretty positive it was not the cell phone, but probably I was looking at something. Maybe a lady was walking her dog and her baby at the same time. And then something caught my attention, and I was just looking at that, and the light turned green in the meanwhile, and I did not notice. And somebody behind me, boom, honked. And then I came back and I took the left turn. Then I realized that I should be in the lane and somebody else will remind me. I don't need to be, sometimes even if I'm not conscious about it, then it's better to be in the lane. Somebody will remind me. So in the same vein, if you are in the like-minded, if you are amongst the keep yourself among the like-minded spiritual seekers, then they will remind you that we are not of this world, and not to forget the ultimate goal of life. And that's a very powerful way actually to kind of keep yourself spiritually motivated and advance. It's extremely critical actually. That day I just had to. That was a very powerful lesson I learned. So I just need to keep myself in the lane, and then somebody will remind me. But if I just move out of the lane and be alone, then that's a big deal right there. The other thing is that is a one step to kind of overcome this treadmill, because we get the higher purpose of life. We in our Bhakti community, we find that we are members coming from vast varieties of backgrounds and socioeconomic status and family situations and so on and so forth. But because we have a harmonious purpose behind our endeavor, we rise above our situations, above the hedonic treadmill. Otherwise, you will be stuck in that particular thing. So that is one thing, having a good, powerful friendship and association of like-minded devotees. The second thing is to kind of realize that no matter how much you get in this world, it's not enough. It's not enough. So might as well be satisfied with what I have. That attitude of gratitude, saying that not the attitude of gratitude that comes from feeling you are a loser or incompetent or you are useless in this world. That is not the point of being attitude of gratitude. Attitude of gratitude doesn't come from losership, but from knowledge that no matter how much I do in this world, it's not going to be enough. I will look up one verse. This is really, really nice. We'll read that. And I'll give the context on why we are reading that as well. So I'll give the context. Jim, you can take this and post it. I'll give the context and then we can discuss. In the meanwhile, if you get more, we can discuss. So one of the lessons that we learned was there was the personality of Godhead comes in many forms, and this particular form, he came as a beautiful young priestly child or a Brahmana boy. The demigods, the demigods, their kingdom has been stolen by a righteous villain called Bali Maharaj. He was extremely an advanced soul, but for somehow or other, he became successful over the demigods and he took over their kingdom. And the demigods were little sad and morose that their kingdom has been taken away from them. And they approached Lord Vishnu, who comes in the form of a small Brahmana boy. And then so we can start doing from text number 16. So this Brahmana boy, he comes to Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj asks him, what do you want? So maybe two translations each per person. If somebody doesn't volunteer, we volunteer.
Anyone would like to read?
I can read this one. Which text is it again?
16.
16.
O King of the Daityas, from your majesty, who come from such a noble family and who are able to give charity magnificently, I ask only 3 paces of land to the measurement of my steps.
Next one, please, Chuck.
O King, controller of the entire universe, although you are very munificent and are able to give me as much land as I want, I do not want anything from you that is unnecessary. If a learned Brahmana takes charity from others only according to his needs, he does not become entangled in sinful activities.
All right, a few more verses. Please, somebody wants to read.
Next one.
Yeah, go for it.
Bali Maharaj said, O son of a Brahmana, your instructions are as good as those of learned and elderly persons. Nonetheless, you're a boy and your intelligence is insufficient. Thus, you are not very prudent in regard to your self-interest.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck. Anyone else? I want to read the next one. Next two, maybe.
Yes, that's right. I am able to give you an entire Island because I am the proprietor of the 3 divisions of the universe. You have come to take something from me and have pleased me by your sweet words, but you are asking only 3 pieces of land, I think, pieces of land. Therefore, you are not very intelligent.
Next, please.
Oh, a small boy, one who approaches me to beg something should not have to ask anything more. Anywhere, therefore. If you wish, you may ask from me much land as will suffice to maintain you according to your needs.
Thank you, Negan. Anyone wants to read the next 2 verse?
I'll read.
Good.
If we're 23, right?
We are
Yeah.
in 21.
21. The
Okay.
personality of Godhead said, "O dear King, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled." 22. If I were not satisfied with 3 paces of land, then surely I would not be satisfied even when possessing one of the 7 islands consisting of 9 varas. Even if I possessed one island, I would hope to get others.
So thank you. So you can see how the idea is that if I get something, the nature of this world is if I get something, then I want to hope to get something more. If I get that, then I want to get something more. This is just the nature of this world and nature of how things are in this world. So one of the ways to break this hedonic treadmill is that let me practice the gratitude with this knowledge that this is just the world how it is, and I'm grateful for what I get. Not that I'm just, I'm so much capable, but I just want to, because the reason is everybody has their own nature. And when that nature is properly used, then one feels aligned as well. I'll give a simple example. For a businessman, your nature is to make more money. And you might say these scriptures are saying, oh my goodness, you guys are just saying don't make more money. The point is not to think about making more money, but I engage myself as a businessman because that's my natural ability. But then the profits that I get by earning money ethically, I'll be satisfied by it. Not that I'll be dissatisfied with no matter how much I get. So with that knowledge, armed with that knowledge, one becomes really peaceful and happy in this world. Not a person who's just striving constantly to fulfill this position, that position, this position, that position. It will leave you drained and it will rob you of your natural and joyful disposition and satisfaction. Unfortunately, in this world, competition and the race for supremacy and so on and so forth is taking new and crazy dimensions. People are dissatisfied as a whole. Is that helpful? Does that make sense? Yeah. So we practice gratitude, but with a clear knowledge of why we are doing it and what is the benefit. Not feeling disabled, not feeling desperate or thinking myself as a loser. But the nature of this world is such that no matter how much you get, you want more. If I own a car manufacturing company, a space company, a boring company, probably a social media company, no, I want another AI software coding company. That's how the world goes. There is no end to it. This is just the nature of this world. Is that a question, comments, concerns? I think this is an important thing that we can take away from this situation. The other thing is that we should practice gratitude in a couple of ways. That we should be spiritually dissatisfied and we should be comparing ourselves spiritually to those who are advanced to us, and we should be comparing ourselves materially to those who are less fortunate. So when somebody is really spiritually advanced, and usually that particular person becomes a guru or a mentor in spiritual life, and that is a happy medium where you serve that personality and advance rapidly in spiritual life. And when you see, okay, I have this kind of money, but there are so many people who are more unfortunate than me, so I'm okay, is a really nice way of looking at things. Opposite is terrible. If you look towards spiritually those who are better than you, and you look towards materially who are better than you and spiritually who are less than you, then that causes havoc. It just causes real havoc because you're never satisfied. There is always somebody better than me, and it just takes a toll on you. So far, so good. Questions, comments, concerns? Yeah. The other thing is doing some sort of service really helps. When life goes beyond our routine that involves us, but we expand giving to others, not just in terms of wealth or maybe our time. Maybe we can teach something, maybe we can cook something. There are a lot of things that we can do, and if you feel the urge that I need to do something for some voluntary work, please reach out to Jim. He and his wife have a lot of service opportunities, not only in the temple, not only with their thing project, but also in the temple. That we invite you to come and kind of chop some vegetables or just be around, and you will feel such joy and happiness that you'll realize that doing some sort of service selflessly without expecting nothing actually gives a great joy to the soul. Maybe you can just come on a Sunday feast and just stand in the line and just serve out something, or maybe you just help clean the temple or just cook or whatever you need to do. You're most welcome. So these are 2 or 3 things that came to my head on how we can break this rut. And the last and the most important thing is to have some spiritual practices, some set spiritual practices, even if it is few minutes a day, but consistent spiritual practices that truly will help. Because your mind can be your deadliest enemy if it is unsatisfied and uncontrolled, and it can be your best friends if it is satisfied and reasonably bridled. So any questions, any comments, thoughts, or discussions? Discussion. Please, today we are letting me go easy. Virginia, go for it. If you have any question or a comment, or anything that you didn't make sense, and like, dude, what are you talking?
No, I think you make good sense. That's why I don't have too many questions.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you. Yeah. Yasmin, you're awfully quiet. All right.
Go ahead, Megan.
Yes, I think, yes, it's focusing on doing something for others. It's helping to be happy usually, than focusing ourselves only. Because if we are focusing only on ourselves, we get to the point, we get to our problems also, everything. But if the focus be helping others, then we thinking about the solution for someone, I think make us more happy. I agree. The volunteer, I should go to temple.
Megan, if you don't mind me asking, what's your background or what's your?
I'm an artist. I am an artist and I paint my oil color, and I teach the kids the painting after school. Yes.
Nice. And what is the language that you speak at home?
Farsi. I speak Farsi, and for a long time I was in the path of finding myself. Actually, I can say, but in different way. I've experienced different paths, but I like the Bhakti community a lot. Thank you.
خیلی
خواهش میکنم. مرسی از شما.
I visited Iran quite a few times in my life. Alicia, please.
Yeah, I'm reflecting on the importance of this community. I think when our sadhana is not very strong, it's very easy to be pulled into the material world. So, for example, if we have some people around us who talk about all these material things all the time, and I find myself very easy to be pulled into that mood. This is not to speak in a judgmental way. I think when we continue to build our sadhana to be stronger and stronger, we can transform the conversation. But when our sadhana is not very strong, it's very important to be with like-minded people, because if I see everybody serves and everybody is very selfless, and it's easy for me to also get into that mood. So that's some reflection I was having today.
Thank you. And Alicia, if you be so kind enough, for those who don't know the meaning of the word sadhana, if you can just elaborate on it.
Sure. My understanding, and it can be I don't know, there may be some deep meaning. My understanding is it's your internal practice or how much positive energies, and keep remembering your mental state always be in a very very good or suspicious in a sattvic state. And that is my understanding of sadhana.
Thank you. Thank you. In other words, a set of daily spiritual practices that you do, just like when you're probably learning to play a music instrument. Every day you just make sure that you take care of the practice and become adept at it. So you're saying the sadhana is like a daily set of spiritual practices that you give your time to.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Jim, how are we doing on time?
I think, yeah, we just go ahead, Ishwari, rather.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for this wonderful session. And you picked up many, many good things about this topic, hedonic treadmill. I was even thinking about that. And when you mentioned that when you're on this treadmill, it's like you're trying to get happiness, but it never really completely satisfies you. It's because it's material. Simply put it, it's material. That's why it'll never give you happiness. And that's why when you have this spiritual community or spiritual friends, then you come to a higher level of consciousness. And I really, really like this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ishwari, for just participating.
Yeah, thanks, Shivas, for jumping on at a short notice. I'm really glad we were able to take a step back and think if we would like to continue on this hedonic treadmill or step out. And Yasmin reflected, thank you, I'll stay on that Krishna lane and I look forward to some beeps from my peeps.
Good one, thank you.
So yeah, it was an excellent session. Thank you so much for coming back and enlivening us, and looking forward to next episode when you can come back.
Thank you. And then we all unmute and we can loudly say Haribol.
Yes. Haribol.